does not look comfortable with Tim Walz. They do not look like they have an amazing dual dynamic unless they're actually on the move and bopping about town. The minute they sit down and have to talk about policy, she looks like a person who should never be elevated, again, above middle management. She does not have natural leadership quality. She's not sitting there confidently telling you her positions. She looks as though she's filing through very slowly, because she's not all that bright, the note cards in her head, looking for what she needs to say about a thing, because even she doesn't know what she believes about the thing. And Tim Walz doesn't know what she believes about the thing.
So the negative reviews continue to pour in from Kamala Harris's CNN interview yesterday. And perhaps an underrated point that I didn't really bring up in yesterday's video, where I grilled her a lot on the substance, were actually the vibes. Just the fact that she seemed very low energy. She didn't look good on camera. The backdrop was not great. And you may think that these things are petty. Oh, who really cares about this? Well, on the surface, yes, in a normal election, that would be a petty thing to really hammer home, except for the fact that she has made her entire campaign about vibes. What is Kamala Harris 2024? Well, we know it's not substance. We know it is not policy. It is simply the fact that she has energy. She has youth, right? What was the central message of the DNC? We have joy. And so when you do an interview that didn't look very joyful, that is something we will point out, and that's something that Ben Shapiro completely tore into her for today and a lot more. So folks, if you enjoy the content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. And without further ado, take a listen to Ben Shapiro's review of the Kamala Harris interview. This is not really something I mentioned or noticed at first, but now that I think of it, it's completely true.
It is not going to do it for Kamala Harris. Not only that, the aesthetics of the interview were awful. You just put up a screen cap of the interview, any of these clips, just any screen cap from all three of them, please. There we go. So here you can see what this interview looked like.
Terrible.
It looks like trash.
Yeah.
Apparently, they did this in a cafe. They wanted to do it with people sitting around, but the problem was they had safety protocols, so they couldn't do that. So instead, they emptied out the cafe. So as my friend Matt Walsh says, they look like they were doing this from the inside of a small town airport waiting because there was a flight delay. Not only that, this thing was staged poorly. Tim Walz is taller than Kamala Harris. She's not a very tall woman. She looks like he has brought her to the principal's office. That's what he looks like.
True.
I tweeted out that it looks like she brought her dad to the McDonald's interview. That's what this image looks like. It is a bad look. It is poorly lit. It is dark. It is weirdly drained of all color. So it looks almost grayscale, this interview, because of the lighting. Tim Walz is in the foreground. Kamala Harris is in the background, which makes her look even smaller than she normally is. And you've got Dana Bash in profile. So it's a very, very weird aesthetic. It's not flattering to Kamala. Kamala Harris requires the flattering camera shot. She does, just aesthetically speaking. She requires the upshot. And she needs to look taller than she is. She requires bright colors around her because that makes her look vibrant and filled with joy. You put her in a black and white movie at an abandoned coffee shop in Georgia, and what she looks like is a middle manager at a bank that is never going to make upper management because she's not qualified, and who brought her dad to an interview. That's what it looked like. So it's bad look. Right off the bat, bad look. She then happened to not be good.
Absolutely true. And you may be saying, Vince, why are you so fixated on this? Shouldn't we talk about the substance? Well, we did that extensively in yesterday's video, but I don't think this is a point that is entirely irrelevant. Once again, because of the way that Kamala Harris has defined her campaign, right? If you're going to run a campaign based on vibes and all this stuff, then the fact that you look terrible in an interview is going to have an impact. And before you say, oh, it's not going to matter in the election, well, we've clearly seen so far the number of Americans who got behind Harris without any policies, without any substance, just because of her vibes or something like that. So yes, if the vibes are off and that is what you're basically banking on, then expect it to hurt you when they don't look good. On top of that, I'm kind of almost a little bit shocked that Kamala Harris's campaign allowed this to happen, because you have the Democrat Party, right? And we know who's in the Democrats, who supports the Democrats. Very often it is Hollywood people, right? People in the arts, people who are creative. And you did kind of see that at the DNC. Like, the messaging was not great at their convention, but aesthetically it was pleasing. You know, they knew what they were doing, obviously, with some of the stuff, some of the theatrics of it all. So the fact that this is your party, you know, you're the show business party, and you put together an interview like that, look like that, again, just not a great look. And if you want to attack us for our vibes, call Republicans weird, then yeah, it is objectively a little bit weird that you look like you're waiting in the airport right now. Again, this is not to say it's more important than the substance, but if you want to talk about the substance, you can watch yesterday's video. Right now, we're just hammering home a little bit of a strategic incompetence, I guess, if you will.
1. Kamala Harris is now attempting to obscure every policy position she ever took. She's now attempting to pretend that she didn't believe any of the things she said back in 2019. She's running to the middle by lying to you. So that is the most important thing. And she should be called on those lies. Dana Bash did it like a little bit last night, but not nearly enough. It's up to Donald Trump and his campaign to do that, particularly in the September 10th debate. All those lines of attack are wide open. Kamala Harris has shifted virtually every position she ever held, and she has explained 0 of those shifts. So that's point number 1.
And she didn't do it yesterday. In fact, yesterday she said her values have not changed. So then it's perfectly fair, right? It's perfectly fair. I think you should run that over and over again.
Point number 2. You get her off the teleprompter, even in a friendly interview like this, she's a disaster area. Truly bad. Wandering all over the landscape in search of an idea. Filling the time with bromidic platitudes like, when we think about the significance of. She does the same trick that you did when you were in 5th grade and the teacher asked you a prompt on an essay question and you repeated the essay question as the beginning of your essay. So your teacher would ask you about Tom Sawyer. Why did Tom Sawyer get his friends to paint the fence? The importance of Tom Sawyer getting his friends to paint the fence. That's what she does whenever she needs to stall for time. That is her shtick. And she does it all the time.
By the way, she only spoke for 16 minutes in yesterday's interview. So an interview that short when you have not done anything for 40 days and you need to stall that much for time, she's not nearly as articulate as people think. I think a lot of the Democrats, because she's better than Biden, have this supreme confidence that she's going to do amazing at the debate, all this stuff. Well, we'll see about that, right? We'll see about that.
And it comes off truly poorly. She was incapable of answering very simple, basic softball questions in a convincing way. She looked incredibly nervous. Throughout the interview, her affect was very, very nervous. She did not look comfortable. She does not look comfortable with Tim Walz. They do not look like they have an amazing dual dynamic unless they're actually on the move and bopping about town. The minute they sit down and have to talk about policy, she looks like a person who should never be elevated, again, above middle management. She does not have natural leadership quality. She's not sitting there confidently telling you her positions. She looks as though she's filing through very slowly, because she's not all that bright, the note cards in her head, looking for what she needs to say about a thing, because even she doesn't know what she believes about the thing. And Tim Walz doesn't know what she believes about the thing. So just the kind of general affect, off-putting, awkward, sort of strange, didn't feel particularly like a joyous inauguration. Queen K here she was gone. There was no Kamala Harris, empress of politics here. This was Kamala Harris, mid-level small town mayor. That's what this felt like.
Yeah, again, the central issue, the vibes were off, but even when you listen to what she was saying, did she really say anything? And this is really the issue in this election is, first of all, I think it's going to be an IQ test of the American public. Like, are you going to vote on substance or are you going to vote on vibes? Okay, because, you know, we know the story there. But on top of that, when even your vibes are off, that's an issue. But beyond that point, I think the other big topic of this election is time. The longer that Kamala Harris goes, the more she will be disliked, and this is a cycle we've seen over and over again in politics. The only challenge if you're the Trump campaign is, can you expose her to the American people in enough time, deeply enough, before the November 5th election? And so that's going to be very important. And the debate's going to be a great time to forecast that. But yeah, ultimately, she's not a very articulate person. She's not this amazing empress of politics. And the moment she's forced to go off script, you can see this is why they were so scared to put her in front of the camera. She's just not that great. She's not the image, the strong woman image that the Democrats have built up. So that said, folks, let me know your thoughts on that CNN interview in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video. Follow me on X and all of my social media. Link in the description. And until next time, God bless and peace.